Trump and Putin are heading to Alaska this Friday for a summit to end the war in Ukraine, but both leaders will have the price of oil very much on their minds. Russian President Vladimir Putin is coming to the US for the first time in 10 years this Friday for a high-stakes summit with US President Donald Trump. The purpose of the summit? Finding a deal to reach a ceasefire in Ukraine. There are real stakes to this summit. Trump has been threatening Putin with tough new sanctions on Russian oil exports in the event that Putin doesn't come to the negotiating table. For Putin, this is a real threat. Russia exports more than 4 million barrels a day of crude to places like India and China, and oil is the linchpin of Russia's economy. If Trump follows through on this threat, it could send shockwaves through the oil market, squeezing Russian finances and also pushing the price of oil up. That's the main reason why both Putin and Trump probably don't want these sanctions to come into place. For Trump, the last 6 months have been frustrating. He's held off on tough new sanctions as he's been trying to get Putin to come to the negotiating table and reach a deal in Ukraine. He's held off on the kinds of actions that US President Joe Biden, for instance, took when he sanctioned Russian companies and tankers taking Russian crude. But over the last couple of weeks, Trump has gotten more frustrated. He's signaled that he's ready to sanction Russia and Russian oil, including customers for Russian oil. This was the central reason for his dispute with Indian President Narendra Modi last week, as India is one of Russia's main customers. But while Trump has been signaling he's ready to get tough, at the same time, he's always been sensitive to taking action that puts upward pressure on oil prices. Trump wants the price of gasoline in the US to stay low, both to keep consumers happy and also as a hedge against inflation. So he's probably heading to the summit in Alaska looking for a way to kick the can down the road and avoid taking the kinds of actions that he's been threatening Putin with. Putin, very similarly, wants to avoid sanctions coming into place. He'll be looking for ways to flatter Trump, to give Trump an off-ramp from taking these sanctions, to kick the can down the road a few more months without submitting to any of Trump's demands on Ukraine. So the outcome from the summit? A few more months of talks, no main sanctions on Russian oil, and the war in Ukraine continues with no end in sight.